Namaste everyone, welcome to today's explainer. In this deep dive, we're unlocking the ultimate mystery. Have you ever just stopped and thought about your body as an incredibly complex, fully automated control room? Everything you do, from dodging a fast-moving cricket ball to simply digesting your lunch, requires absolutely flawless coordination. आज हम decode करेंगे कि ये exactly होता कैसे है. Let's explore the body's control room.
Picture this. You're in the kitchen and you accidentally touch a garam bartan, a boiling hot vessel on the stove. You don't just stand there consciously thinking, this is hot, I should probably move my hand. No way. You pull your hand back instantly, without even a second thought. Why? Because for us to survive, our bodies have to detect these environmental changes and react on the spot. But the real question is, ये message आखिर इतनी जल्दी travel कैसे करता है?
So here is our roadmap for today. First up, दिमाग का wiring, our nervous system. Second, the mastermind itself, the human brain. Third, plants में coordination. And fourth, our body's chemical network, hormones. Let's get right into it.
All right, Section 1, Dimag ka wiring, or the nervous system. Think about it for a second. How exactly does your body transmit an emergency SOS from your fingertip all the way to your arm muscles at literal lightning speed? Well, the secret lies in the basic unit of this wiring, the neuron. When you touch that hot stove, specialized receptors in your skin detect the heat. ये एक chemical reaction trigger करता है, which creates a super-fast electrical impulse. ये impulse आपके neuron के branch-like dendrite tip से शुरू होकर travels straight down that long axon tail right to its very end.
But here's the crazy part. Neurons actually एक दूसरे को physically touch नहीं करते. Nope. They have this microscopic gap between them called a synapse. So when that electrical impulse hits the end of the axon, it sets off the release of certain chemicals. ये chemicals basically एक bridge का काम करते हैं. They cross the gap and spark a brand new electrical impulse in the next neuron. And this is exactly how the message jumps forward, neuron by neuron, muscles तक पहुंचने के लिए. Now, in an emergency, this whole system forms a brilliant, fast-acting shortcut called a reflex arc. It's a simple step-by-step. First, receptors in your hand detect the heat. Second, a sensory nerve rushes this input signal toward your central nervous system. Third, and honestly, this is where the magic happens. Instead of going all the way up to the brain, your spinal cord processes a quick connection. Fourth, a motor nerve immediately fires an output signal back. And fifth, your muscle contracts और आप instantly अपना हाथ सेव कर लेते हैं.
So क्यों और कैसे? Why did this reflex arc even evolve in the first place? Well, true thinking is actually a very complex, relatively slow interaction of thousands of neurons up in your brain. अगर आप pain process करने और decision लेने का wait करते, you would get severely burnt. So to prevent that, the body relies on these super efficient spinal cord shortcuts purely for survival.
Moving on to Section 2, the mastermind, our human brain.
Now what about those times when we actually do need to stop, think, and make a conscious decision? Enter the brain, our main coordinating center. Because it's so incredibly vital, it sits safely tucked away inside a bony box, the skull. Odd is box gan that it is basically suspended in a fluid-filled balloon for maximum shock absorption. It's like nature's own bubble wrap. From this super safe throne, you लगातार peripheral nervous system से signals receive or integrate करते.
Let's quickly break down who does what up there. The forebrain is your main thinking hub. ये आपकी सारी memory store करता है and handles sensory inputs like hearing, sight, and even that random feeling of hunger. Then we have the midbrain and hindbrain. These guys handle the background stuff you don't even consciously control. For example, the medulla, which is part of the hindbrain, controls involuntary actions, think blood pressure, or your mouth watering when you see your absolute favorite food. And finally, the cerebellum handles the precision of voluntary actions, so picking up a pencil, riding a bicycle, or simply keeping your balance while walking. That is all your cerebellum hard at work.
All right, shifting gears to Section 3, plants, mind-gene coordination.
Here is a really fascinating question for you. How do plants respond to their environment? I mean, they don't have a brain, they don't have nerves, and they definitely don't have muscles, yet they absolutely move. On one hand, we have growth-independent movement. Think of the famous Chui Mui or Touch Me Not plant. You touch its leaves, and it immediately folds up. They manage this just by changing the amount of water in their cells, causing them to swell or shrink. On the other hand, we have much slower, growth-dependent movements. जैसे एक pea plant के tendrils gradually growing around a fence for support.
This specific directional growth brings us to a concept called tropism, which is basically how plants respond to environmental triggers. Just think of the classic window light experiment. अगर आप एक potted plant को एक sunny window के पास रखें, its shoots will literally bend and grow right towards the sunlight. We call that phototropism. Meanwhile, gravity ensures the roots always grow downward, which is geotropism. The environment is carefully controlling their direction.
But how is all this coordinated without any electricity or nerves? ये काम करते हैं plant hormones. Instead of quick electrical impulses, plants rely on a slow but very persistent chemical communication that just diffuses from cell to cell. For instance, auxin, which is synthesized at the shoot tip, shady side while the cells go lamba karta hai. That's what actually bends the plant towards the light. Gibberellins, they help in stem growth. Cytokinins promote rapid cell division in things like fruits and seeds. And they even have built-in chemical brakes. Abscisic acid actually inhibits growth, causing leaves to wilt when it's time.
Which brings us nicely to section 4, the chemical network, hormones.
So, this whole idea of chemical control is the perfect bridge back to animals and humans. The endocrine system is basically the body's secondary wireless Wi-Fi method of control. See, the nervous system is incredibly fast, right? But those electrical impulses can only reach cells that are directly connected by nerve tissue. The endocrine system, on the other hand, uses chemical signals. Sure, they act a bit slower, but they diffuse right into the blood और body के हर एक single cell तक पहुंच सकते हैं, providing a very steady, persistent kind of control.
Picture this high-stakes scenario for a second. You're suddenly facing a really scary, dangerous situation. Boom, a massive, body-wide adrenaline rush kicks in. This is the famous fight-or-flight response. Powered by adrenaline secreted straight from the adrenal glands, your heartbeat instantly fast ho jati hai to pump more oxygen. Your breathing increases, and blood is rapidly diverted straight to your skeletal muscles. Your entire body is literally prepped for intense action in a matter of seconds.
Now, these crucial endocrine glands are located at very specific points across human bodies. They secrete highly target-specific hormones directly into your bloodstream. And it's not just for those crazy emergency moments either. ये glands आपकी body के internal design को carefully maintain करते हैं, basically ensuring you grow and develop exactly how you should, all the way from a child into an adult.
Let's take a quick look at what some of these major hormones actually do. Up in the brain, the pituitary gland secretes growth hormone. Too little can cause dwarfism, while too much can cause gigantism. Then there's the thyroid gland, producing thyroxine to regulate your metabolism. इसीलिए हमें diet में iodized salt चाहिए होता है, because without iodine, the thyroid just can't make thyroxine, which can lead to a swollen neck condition called goitre. Down below, the pancreas produces insulin to regulate blood sugar levels, which is exactly why diabetic patients often take insulin injections. And finally, the testes or ovaries secrete testosterone and estrogen, which control all those dramatic physical changes you experience during puberty.
So, this brings us to one final mind-bending thought. Without you even realizing it, how perfectly balanced is your body's internal feedback mechanism right at this exact moment? As you sit here listening to this explainer, your pancreas is constantly detecting your sugar levels and adjusting insulin production, completely automatically, just like a smart thermostat. Your internal control room is running this incredibly complex loop day and night, purely to keep you alive and thriving. It leaves you absolutely awestruck when you really think about it, doesn't it? Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really hope this sparked your curiosity to go out and learn even more about the brilliant machinery working inside you.